why my independence was so high. I do not like anybody telling me what to do is one of the consequences of that dynamic. And because it was such, as a kid, such an emotional experience of like, my mom telling all these people, okay, where to stand, how to stand. Okay, no, smile, no, smile bigger. Okay, smile. Okay, no, smile. Okay, stand over here. No, I don't see you. Move over here. Okay, no, that doesn't work. No, fix your shirt. No, your jacket's out of line there. Okay, no, you're squat down a little bit more. Like it, and it, again, it felt like, and maybe it wasn't every day, but it sure felt like it for my entire childhood. And who would have thunk that something that, even as I'm explaining it, it sounds so minor, but as a kid who had developed people-pleasing addiction, like, oh man, I just feel like we're inconveniencing all these people every single time we do this. Oh my gosh, they feel embarrassed. This is so awkward. This is so uncomfortable. I have no control over this. This is how it goes every single time. It takes long every single time, right? It just clearly was a significant emotional event for so many years of my life that, man, I had developed a hardcore independence streak in my life. And so anyway, just thought it was a fascinating thing of how something that's seemingly so small and insignificant could play out in one's adulthood, in my adulthood, so strongly in terms to so much so that it has impacted career choices. It has impacted me being an entrepreneur. It has impacted life decisions. It's impacted truckloads of stuff in my life. What is going on, EQ gangsters? So for those of y'all watching on our YouTube channel, we are headed to our 18th family pictures. It seems like we get family pictures like every month. Gorgeous. We do. So anyway, on our way to family pictures, happy Thanksgiving. This is going to be, you're going to be hearing this after Thanksgiving has passed, but nonetheless, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you all had a wonderful time with family. And for those of y'all that are in Australia, all my Australian peeps, what's up? I hope you guys are doing great. And for those of y'all that have been following our journey, thank you for listening to our podcast. Thank you for rating, reviewing, sharing, subscribing. Really appreciate that for your feedback. And again, we love reviews. It's really helpful. So appreciate you taking 30 seconds 15, 20 seconds to writing a review, maybe sharing a lesson you learned or something you got out of our podcast. Really appreciate that. So I want to share an insight with you today that I got about myself while doing one of my corporate coaching clients, appointment with one of my corporate clients. And for those y'all, also, some of y'all know, if you go to our website, eqgangster.com, and I think maybe the corporate and training tab, it talks about one of the things that we offer is something called the EQ Boss package. And it's a coaching package along with a scientific psychometric assessment of emotional intelligence. One of my other corporate clients kind of coined it. He said, man, Noble, I feel like you're giving me, with this psychometric scientific assessment, my emotional intelligence before photo, which I'm like, dude, I love that. I'm going to use that. So big shout out to Scott for coining that, because that's such a great analogy and great, great idea of how to use that, what it is, what that example is of the assessment. It is like your before photo of your emotional intelligence, and it assesses 15 different subscales or elements, aspects of your emotional intelligence. Actually, there's a 16th one as well called well-being. It's a well-being indicator, it assesses your happiness, your overall happiness and well-being. But that is a collection of 4 of the 15 different elements or subscales. one of the elements, one of the 15 elements on this scientific, psychometric, emotional intelligence assessment is independence. That is an aspect of emotional intelligence. And so my independence is very high, and it has been very high for a long time. And I've always wondered, man, why? Why is my independent? Why am I so independent? Why do I love feeling like I have control over my decisions? And why do I absolutely disdain people telling me what to do? That's why, thankfully, we've been entrepreneurs for over 20 years, 25 years now. We've been entrepreneurs, have been a part of over 10 different startup businesses, serial entrepreneurs, and I am not cut out for a 9-to-5. That has just not been a strength of mine. and honestly, largely due to this strong desire for independence. And again, I didn't even know that was an aspect of emotional intelligence, but in this particular assessment that I use and have access to, independence is one of those 15 elements. And it is super high. And I'm like, man, what is the deal? What's going on with that? And finally, just recently, after this, again, recent coaching appointment, finally made the connection of what that is. Now, anytime I share, so we all get our emotional foundations from our childhood. Everybody, lottie-dottie, everybody, regardless if you had a Leave It to Beaver childhood or a Jerry Springer childhood, like either way, we all get our emotional foundations from our childhood. And if we don't do any emotional work, then whatever emotional dysfunction we had in our childhood, we carry that into our adulthood. Again, especially if we have not done any emotional work to change, improve, or heal, or grow from our childhoods. And all of us have some degree of emotional dysfunction, again, regardless of how normal, quote unquote, normal your childhood was. Now, saying that, what I'm about to say is going to sound like, oh man, doesn't sound like a positive thing about your family of origin, my birth family. But just know, I love my family. I'm so thankful for my parents. My dad passed away a number of years ago. My parents are both amazing, and we had an amazing childhood. Very thankful for the childhood that God gave me. So please know, this is not a knock on my parents. It is a consequence of, it's one of the consequences and one of the aspects of my emotional foundations that wasn't necessarily positive. And again, we all have stuff to work on. So again, please know, I have amazing parents, and this is just, my parents did not have any emotional training. They didn't know about EQ and emotional intelligence. I don't feel like my parents' generation, the whole generation, I don't feel like had very much awareness of emotional intelligence. It was back in my parents' generation, it was like just coming out, just kind of becoming a thing. So you don't, I can't teach Chinese if I don't know Chinese. If I don't know Arabic, I can't teach Arabic. If I don't know Spanish, I can't teach Spanish. If you don't know emotional intelligence or even know it exists, it's pretty tough to teach what you don't know. That was this dynamic with this awareness for my independence. So the independence the reason it was so high is because my childhood, my mom, again, has a million positive traits and characteristics. One of the traits that impacted me, that impacted my independence as an adult, was a trait where she would very regularly tell, like, this is one thing, she would tell us what to do. It felt like a lot, and this is how it played out in taking pictures. So my mom is a if you know my mom, again, she's a amazing lady. She takes more pictures than anybody I know on the planet. She almost had a photo album for every single day I was alive as a child during my childhood. And I'm almost not exaggerating. Like that's very, very close to the truth. So and this is back obviously pre-digital days. So like actual physical photos for at least one photo, I'm going to say, go out on a limb and say at least one photo for every single day I was alive as a child. So now I also know, man, I'm just making this realization now too, why she did that. I have an older sister who was killed when she was 5 months old. So I can only imagine that she wanted to savor every moment with her next kid that she possibly could to capture and remember those memories. Never even thought about that until right now. That is probably why she became such a hardcore photo lady, because I don't have a whole lot of photos of my older sister. I only remember a couple photos of my older sister, but me, there's like literally a million photos. So I bet you, if I had to bet, that is why she has taken so many pictures. And oddly enough, I've picked that up too with our family and my daughter. Now, obviously not for the same reason. Thankfully, we didn't have anybody die in my family, my immediate family. But our daughter did almost die. And so when she was 2 years old, and thankfully, I have been very consistent in taking pictures as well. But how I take pictures is very different than how my mom takes pictures. So how she would do it as a kid is it would be painful. It would be so painful because she'd get everyone organized. Okay, no, you stand over here. Okay, you stand over here. Okay, face at a 37-degree angle. Okay, you face at an 87-degree angle, 86.2 degree angle. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Okay, you squat down just a little bit. Okay, you stand up a little bit taller. Okay, you get in the back. Okay, you get in the front. And we're like, it felt like an eternity just to snap a photo. Now, I'm so thankful that we have a zillion photos to capture all the wonderful memories that I had growing up as a kid, but I never realized the emotional, like it used to annoy the absolute living crap out of me, because it felt like 10 minutes for her to take one picture. And what I felt as a people guy and as a people pleaser addict, inconvenience all these people. So if it took 10 minutes to take one photo, 10 people in one photo for 10 minutes, that's 100 minutes of man hours that just got wasted taking one photo versus saying, everyone get together, can I see your faces, smile, snap. It took me 10 seconds to do that, right? Versus 100 minutes of man hours to take one photo. Again, it probably didn't take 10 minutes. Maybe it took 3 minutes or 4 minutes, but it just was for me. And y'all, with the number of pictures, it was multiple times a day. It would have felt like that we would do this. Anytime we were with anybody, we would take 3 to 5 photos. I'm talking religiously. And y'all, that was every day of my life, pretty close to every day of my life, it felt like. And so I guess, and kind of, again, one of the consequences of that was I didn't realize this literally until like last 2 weeks ago, why my independence was so high. I do not like anybody telling me what to do is one of the consequences of that dynamic. And because it was as a kid, such an emotional experience of like, my mom telling all these people, okay, where to stand, how to stand. Okay, no, smile. No, smile bigger. Okay, smile. Okay, no, smile. Okay, stand over here. No, I don't see you. Move over here. Okay, no, that doesn't work. No, fix your shirt. No, your jacket's out of line there. Okay, no, you're squat down a little bit more. Like it, and it, again, it felt like, and maybe it wasn't every day, but it sure felt like it for my entire childhood. And who would have thunk that something that, even as I'm explaining it, it sounds so minor, but as a kid, who had developed people-pleasing addiction, like, oh man, I just feel like we're inconveniencing all these people every single time we do this. Oh my gosh, they feel embarrassed. This is so awkward. This is so uncomfortable. You know, I have no control over this. This is how it goes every single time. It takes long every single time, right? It just clearly was a significant emotional event for so many years of my life that, man, I had developed a hardcore independence streak in my life. And so anyway, just thought it was a fascinating thing of how something that's seemingly so small and insignificant could play out in one's adulthood, in my adulthood, so strongly in terms to so much so that it has impacted career choices. It has impacted me being an entrepreneur. It has impacted life decisions. It's impacted truckloads of stuff in my life. So I encourage you guys to figure out, and is independence a bad thing? No, it's not even a bad thing. But what was kind of surprising in my EQ assessment was how extreme it was compared to my other EQ elements and subcategories there. So pay attention to the extremes in your life and where they came from. Remember, unaddressed emotional issues don't get better over time. They actually compound. Unaddressed emotional issues don't get better over time. They actually compound. If you don't deal with your emotional issues, your friends, family, and coworkers will be forced to. If you don't deal with your emotional issues, your friends, family, and coworkers will be forced to. Emotionally healthy people help heal other people emotionally. If you're ready to level up your emotional fitness program, go to EQgangster.com and check out the EQ Mafia.